Namaste to everyone. In this class, we are going to discuss about the cultural relativism. Cultural relativism is an important unit of study for the students of anthropology, sociology, and psychology. It is widely used terminology in sociology, anthropology, and psychology. In everyday life, everyone, knowingly, unknowingly, we are using the word relativism in comparing the others' cultures. In every activity, we will be looking presently that how I will be differing with them, others. That is very interesting subject matter. And this subject of cultural relativism is the concept of culture was originally an expression of German nationalism which reacted to the French Enlightenment by ascertaining the uniqueness and incompatibility of all culture as historical creations. So, it has its origin from Germany, then widely used by the French nationals, then it went to the different European and developing countries. Cultural relativism is one of the most important concepts in the field of sociology, anthropology, and psychology, affirming and recognizing the relationship between the social structure and the day-to-day life of an individual. Just now I told, day-to-day life of every individual is associated with the relativism. Without relativism, we cannot do anything, because always either materialistic or non-materialistic, we are always going with the relativism. That is one of the important aspects of human life. It is the idea that the system of moral and ethics, which varies from one culture to another culture, are all equal and that no system ranks above others. Here you can see that it is the idea that system of moral and ethics, which varies from one culture to another, the morals, the ethics, the values, the beliefs varies from one culture to another culture. It is not uniform in all cultures. It is varies. All are not that equal, and that no system ranks above the other. In spite of it, that is no system, that is no culture is higher, superior, or lower. According to their own perception of an individual, their culture, they think it is superior. The way of thinking, the way of doing things, the beliefs, the morals, ethics, they will think that for them their culture is superior. For others it may not be like that. So, a person's belief and value system should be understood in the context of his own culture rather than against the criteria of other culture. It is very important that we should not compare your culture with the others. A person's belief and value system should be understood in the context of his own culture. When you are comparing a culture, that is your culture is superior, inferior, you must understand the culture of other person, that is opposite person. What is his culture? What is his ethics, morals and beliefs? Then only you can able to understand whether your culture is superior or inferior. So, you must have a cultural rather than against the criteria of another culture. You must have the criteria how you can able to gauge the culture of others. That is very important. The cultural relativism is based on the fact that there is no specific ground rule for what is good or evil. Thus, any judgment on what is true or wrong depends on the society's rules, culture, and belief system. Therefore, Any opinion on morality or ethics is dependent on a personal cultural perspective. Ultimately, no particular ethical position can be considered the best. So, which I have just now I have told you, you cannot judge yourself that the opposite person's culture is superior or inferior until and unless you should have your own cultural value, ethics and belief system. Then only you can able to judge. For him, his culture is superior. For you, your culture is maybe superior or inferior. So it depends on the how your society's rules, cultures, belief system exist, and within the social structure how you will be functioning in the society, that also plays a very important role here. And finally, we can say that we cannot say a particular culture, its ethical position can be considered is the best. We cannot say. For opposite person, your ethical position may be wrong, but for you it is right. So we cannot judge the ethical position of a particular culture is the best or worst. Now let us look into the origin of the concept of the word cultural relativism. First found the word in the journal article published in 1941, actually titled as Cultural Relativism and Science, that is in Grace A. D. Luna in Proceedings and Address of the American Philosophical Association, in page number 15, line number 141 to 166. As a research article, the first use of the term was in the Journal of American Anthropologist 1948. That the term originates not with the Franz Boas but with Ruth Benedict. One source of that confirms this is cultural relativism or cultural relativity, as she called it. That the term originates not with the Franz Boas but with the Ruth Benedict. One source that confirms this cultural relativism or cultural relativity, as she called it, was the first used by Professor Boas' student Ruth Benedict in her 1934 book Patterns of Culture. Cultural relativism as ideology, which has been published in the Critical Review Journal in 1997. The concept of cultural relativism that is known and used today was developed as an analytical tool by Franz Boas, a German-American anthropologist, in the early years of the 20th century. Let us refer Franz Boas what he says. It refers to the view that all the beliefs and customs are relative to the social context to which they belong. If you try to take them out of the context, they lost their cultural relevance. So he says that the views that all the beliefs and customs are relative to the social context to which they belong. So which I have discussed with you earlier, that is based on the social contact and also the context where and with whom you are discussing and with whom you are comparing. If you try to take them out of their context, they lost their relevance. If you are not going to compare, or if you are not going to look into the eyes of your culture, then it will not have any relevance. The idea was subsequently popularized by some of the Boas students. However, neither Bose nor the 21st century relativist James Vary Miller coined the term cultural relativism. The term was first recorded by Alain Locke in 1924, who used the term to describe Robert Louis' cultural relativism. The concept of cultural relativism was an important concept to countering the ethnocentrism that often tarnished research at that time. So there is a controversy in coining the words, whether it is a Bose or it is a Bose students Ruth Benedict or Vary Miller or Robert Louis. It is a controversy that, but we can say that American Journal of Anthropological Association first published it. Later on, several research scholars of anthropology, sociology, they have used the terminology. Now, however, we are not going in depth into the controversy of who used the word or who coined the word relativism, but we are very much interested into the analytical aspects of cultural relativism. Now, let us look into the definition of cultural relativism. The classical statement of cultural relativism is by American anthropologist Melville J. Herskovits in 1955. He said that the principles of cultural relativism, briefly stated, is as follows. Judgments are based on experience, and experience is interdependent by each individual in terms of his own enculturation. Those who hold for the existence of the fixed values will find materials in other societies that necessitates to reinvestigation of their assumptions. As there are absolute moral standards or more moral standards effectively only as far as they agree with the orientation of a given people at a given period in their history. We even approach the problem of the ultimate nature of relativity itself. Is reality not defined and redefined by the ever varied symbolism of the innumerable languages of mankind? Is a too lengthy description of definition he has given. He has given a description, not a definition. Lengthy definition he has given about describing the cultural relativism. He compares with the historical aspects of the particular culture. We can compare the particular culture based on their cultural evolution of a particular community or a society. So it is an historical development, not spontaneously we can able to say particular culture is inferior, particular culture is superior, and a symbolic way of representation, and also the language which are used by the different populations. That is what Herskovits mentions. Malinowski, who is a student of Bose, summed up the principles of cultural relativism as judgments are based on experiences, and experiences interpreted by each individual in terms of his own enculturation. So here Herskovits says judgment of a culture, whether inferior or superior, based on the experience, and the experience is interpreted by each individual. How you will be interpreting the other culture, that is very important, in terms of his own enculturation, how you have been brought up in your culture. Acculturation, enculturation, you may be heard about it. Enculturation by way of learning from the within the family, within this one. So enculturation, how you have been taught by your society, that plays an important role in comparing the relativism. That is what he says, that is enculturation plays a vital role in cultural relativism. And another important social scientist, that is Redfield, he defines cultural relativism means that the values expressed in any culture are to be both understood and themselves valued only according to the way the people who carry that culture see things. This tendency to restrict relativism to morals, ethics, and values has the cultural relativism. So, according to Redfield, cultural relativism is based on the values expressed by any culture which you can able to understand and valued by yourself the other cultures. So, this tendency to restrict relativism on morals, ethics, and values. So, you must think about the other cultures, their morals, ethics, and belief system. Then only you can compare which is superior and inferior. So, cultural relativism is the idea that cultures or phenomena expresses a distinct expression of the groups, that is the nation or any state or society that own these cultures or phenomena, and that therefore there are no absolute universal values. So we doesn't have universal values, or absolutely we cannot measure a particular culture is superior or inferior. Here in this context I wanted to bring one of the best examples of Hindu way of belief system, that is Upanayanam. Upanayam is a Hindu ritual of initiation restricted to the Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudras. That is nothing but a thread wearing ceremony. The ceremony is performed between the ages of 5 and 24. The wide variance of reflecting the different educational requirements of the Brahmins, Kshatriyas and Sudras. The thread consists of a loop made of 3 symbolically knotted and twisted strands of cotton cord. It is replaced regularly so that it is worn throughout the lifetime of a owner, normally over the left shoulder and diagonally across the chest to the right hip. It identifies the wearer as a Dvija or twice born. The second birth understood as having taken place when the Guru imparted to the students the Guru Gayatri or mantra. Gayatri mantra we call as it a Gayatri mantra, a sacred verse of the Rig Veda. The initiation ceremony concludes when the student kindles the sacrificial fire and begs for the alms, symbolically of his dependency on others during his brahmacharya period. This is one of the best example. For others or the Western people, they think it is different, and they may say, what is this performance? What is this ceremony? Why they have to do? Why they need a sacred thread? But as a Hindu, we believe it is a sacred. So this is the belief system. It varies from one culture to the another culture. Now another important aspect of culture I wanted to inform you based on my research among the Todas of Nilgiris, that is a pastoral community. Once they are polyandrous and their belief system is totally different in marriage. A person, if a boy wanted to marry a girl, a boy has to go to the girl's parents' house, work there for about a 1 year period, and he can have the sex with that girl. And when the girl becomes pregnant, in the seventh month only they will be performing the marriage. I think you can see here how they are performing the marriage.
The marriage ceremony is a simple function in which the unmarried pregnant woman, along with the relatives, in a new moon day proceeds to the nearby forest where she sits with the boy who is to become the father of her child near a kias tree. The man asks the father of the woman if he may bring the bow, and on obtaining his consent, the man goes in search of a bow in the shores, from a twig of which he makes a mimic bow. The arrow is represented by a blade of grass called nork. Meanwhile, a triangular niche had been cut in the kayas tree, in which lighted lamp is placed. The bow and arrow are handed over to the pregnant woman, who raises them to her head, touches her forehead with them, and places them near the tree. From this moment, the lawful father of the child is the man from whom she has received the bow and arrow. We can see here the marriage ceremony is going on. At the same time, both men and women are singing and dancing in a separate groups.
Why this culture? See, the population is very small. It is 1400 individuals. So every individual is important for them. Once they have the female infanticide, as soon as the girl is born, they used to throw the girl, the baby, into the buffalo pen. If she survives for the next day, then only they will be taking. So there is a scarcity of women. That is why it has developed over a period of time, that culture, not today's culture, that is. So that culture is still continuing among them. So each female girl is an important for them. Their idea is that girl should not go for barren. If a boy is not able to produce a child, it is a waste giving to him the girl. That is why the concept has been developed over a period of time. So we cannot say that culture is inferior than your culture. So this is important concept. One, if you can able to understand the history of the culture of the history of the Todas, then only you can able to judge whether it is a superior or inferior. The belief system they had is totally different what presently we are having. Of course, presently there is a tremendous change among these forms of marriage among the Todas also. Cultural relativism creates an understanding that there are many cultures in the world, and that each culture has its own values, beliefs and practices that have been developed over a period of time in a particular context, either historically, politically or socially, and that no other cultures are necessarily wrong or right. So every society has its own culture which is more or less unique. Every culture contains its own unique pattern of behavior which may seem alien to people from other cultures, backgrounds. We cannot understand the practice and belief separately from the wider cultures of which they are part. A culture has to be studied in terms of its own meaning and values. A cultural relativism describes a situation where there is an attitude of respect for culture's differences rather than in condemning other people's cultures as uncivilized or backward. So, culture has to be studied in terms of own meaning and values. We have to study a particular culture in their own values and in their meanings. Describing a particular situation where there is an attitude of respect for culture differences rather than condemning other people's cultures. A civilized or backward. So we should compare a particular culture and its values and ethics and morals and beliefs based on the situation and where the culture, how it has evolved over a period of time. Here I wanted to bring my own research experiences in Orissa tribe, that is Dongriya Kond. Dongriya Kond worships the Nimagiri hills. The hill itself is a god for them. They have folk stories, folk songs on the Nimagiri hills. In their folk songs, they describes entire flora, fauna which are available in the Nimagiri hills. Now we are going to have the song on Nimagiri hills. From this song sung by you mother giving us a lot of fruits, vegetables, roots and tubers. With you only we are surviving. Without you we cannot survive. You are giving us a lot, including water, food, different type of fruits, different type of animals, and shelter. Everything you are giving, oh Mother God, oh Mother Nimagiri Hills. We are our goddess. We worship you always in praise of you. It's a rich cultural tradition. The entire flora fauna is preserved in the folk song. Can you able to believe it? For others, they may think they are. For others, they think that they are singing some songs without any meaning or without anything. No, their songs are fully loaded with flora, fauna, and the usage of the medicinal plants, how it will be used, how we can go for a hunting, food gathering, collection of the fruits. In the Nimagiri Hills, what are the flora, fauna, where it is existing? Suppose particular fruit where it is available in the jungle, it has been described in the song. And particular animal, for example rabbit, where generally they will be available more in the Nimagiri Hills. So entire description is given in the folk song, and they will be singing the songs and dances on festive occasions and full moon days. It is a rich cultural heritage. I feel myself it is a proud because they doesn't have any script for writing the songs and preserve that culture. The entire their cultural heritage is stored in the folk songs. So we cannot grasp the behavior of the people if we interpret what they say and do in the light of our values, beliefs and motives. Instead, we need to examine their behavior as insiders, seeing it within the framework of their values, beliefs and motives. This approach is called cultural relativism. It suspends judgments and views the behavior of the people from the perspective of their own cultures. It is a very important. That is what which I was discussing from the beginning. Seeing other culture within the framework of their values, beliefs and motives is very important. See, Dongriya Kond, songs and dances for folk songs, performing in the cultural festivals also. Present day we are organizing tribal cultural festivals, and we are witnessing in the metro cities, big cities, about the songs and dances without understanding, without knowing the meaning of that songs, the dances. Here we can see the Dongriya Kond after the harvesting of the festival, worshipping of the Mother Earth, What are the instruments used for digging the earth for food cultivation? They, with that six, they will sing songs and dance there, worshipping the Mother Earth. That is the unique characteristics of the tribes of Niyamagiri Hills, and praising their weapons which were used for agriculture. It is a unique culture. We should compare how they are using in their own way of thinking and culture. Oh, Niyamagiri Hills, your life for us. You are giving everything for us. You are giving water. You are giving animal food. We are giving fruits, vegetables, everything. Without you, we cannot live. That is the concept. That is the way of thinking of Dongri Akon type of people inhabiting in Niyamagiri Hills. Okay? Okay. So, the modern world has widely embraced the concept of cultural relativism, with other words such as tolerance, acceptance, and taking a new meaning. Now, the modern world, because of the information technology and exposed to the human society, mass communication, media, has brought several changes in the cultural relativism. Especially in sociology, the concept is practiced to overcome the problems of cultural bias that has plagued research. It has also greatly influenced social sciences such as anthropology, psychology, management, and even economics and commerce also presently, because international exposure, international marketing, and traveling across the country's business is a global economy has developed. So cultural relativism is also fast growing, and it is linked to but always distinguished from moral relativism, a concept that views morality as relative to a given standard. Now let us explain the cultural relativism. Cultural relativism also holds the views that there is nothing wrong or good with any cultural expression. Thus, when outsiders views the youth dormitory system as place where the youth indulge in free sex, it is wrong and unethical. Here I wanted to bring it to you, that is Didai tribe in Orissa. They have the youth dormitories, which I have discussed with you in the last class on ethnocentrism, also one of the tribes on youth dormitories. Here, youth dormitories plays an important role, that is functions as an economic unit. When the breastfeeding is over, the children are sent to the dormitories generally. The boys and girls, they will used to sleep in the dormitories. The younger boys and younger girls will get the training from the elders on various economic activities, folk songs, singing, dancing, and musical instrument usage, and the construction of the houses for the entire village. Whatever the communally work is there, they used to do, especially for seedling, harvesting. All together the youth participates. You can say that is the dormitory, or you can call as Gotul, is a economic unit, functions for the entire village community, or you can say it is a society. It is a cooperative body, you can say. It helps all the people in various aspects, and also preserves the cultural heritage, that is the youth dormitories. Whereas the other people, they feel that youth dormitories are different, a sexual house and abuse. It's not like that. It's a totally different. The concept is totally different. It's not a sexual house or sexual training. The concept has been spelt out by the colonial period with different interpretations. That is what I was telling to in many of them. We, the anthropologists, sociologists, psychologists, the way of thinking should be stopped. It is not a sexual training. It's not a sexual training. It's an economic body which functions for the welfare of the community. That should be the perception. But whereas outsiders, they think differently. And they will laugh at the Gothul, or you can say dormitory system. The concept should be interpreted in such a way that is what the people they themselves think about their culture, but it is not represented like that. In wrong way the meaning takes you. At least present generation of social scientists, we should write on them positively, not negatively, to know the world what is a Gothul, what is the dormitories of youth. Because of that reason, the dormitory system is disintegrating. In many of the tribals, it disappeared. I have visited almost all the particularly vulnerable tribes in documenting my ethnographic films on 75 primitive tribes. I have observed more than 50% of the tribes they have lost the concept because of the negative way of thinking outsiders. That is what cultural relativism. Now further discussion on the concept of cultural relativism, which covers a wide area of human interactions, beliefs, values and practices. For example, it explains why what constitutes breakfast vary from place to place. In most African homes, it is never breakfast without a cup of tea, coffee or porridge. Whereas in the United States, a typical breakfast consists of cereals, milk and sandwiches loaded with eggs and bacon. So, you can see the breakfast itself we have a variation from one continent to another continent. The Africa food habits is different. In USA food habits for the breakfast is different. How they will become. So here what we can say about which is superior and which is inferior. It is the habit. It has been developed over a period of time based on ecology, environmental conditions and also availability of the food resources, which plays a vital role for their intake of the food. In another example which quoted by the Western scholars, I wanted to tell you here is, in some parts of the world, nudity is considered an inherently sexual thing, with people interpreting it as a sexual indicator. However, in some places, being nude in public is normal part of life. In this case, being nude is not considered a sexual suggestion but an appropriate bodily state. In places dominated by Islam, a thoroughly body covering is expected. The other cultural differences that must be tolerated, including the role of different members of the family, religion and religious practices, and community leadership. In some homes, women are confined to the kitchen and are proud to play their role in such a setting, while in some setups, women are encouraged to pursue leadership and engage in what would be considered men's fields. Is an important one. That is, a family as a social group, how they will be sharing their functions. Husband, wife, children and grandparents, how they will be sharing their work and how they will be contributing the family economy. That plays a very important role. In most of the Indian people, the women like to be work in the house itself, that is domestic works, take care of the children, take care of preparation of the food, and cleaning of the house, water fetching, and different activities. That is the concept among the Indian women. Now, over a period of time, because of the technology, industrialization, information technology came, now the migration has started to urban areas from villages. Now it is finding difficult for survival with a one salary in a big cities like Bangalore, Delhi and Calcutta or any other metro cities. So both women and men, they have to work together in contributing the family income. That is why the women also started working as an employee on par equal with the men. So here you can see the differences between, over a period of time, the majority of the women who likes to work in the houses, they have been now transformed or changed their occupations, and they are going for along with the men for work. How you can recognize the cultural relativism? By recognizing cultural relativism, a person recognizes that her culture shapes that is considered beautiful or otherwise, funny or abhorrent, good or bad, tasteful or tacky. Understanding cultural relativism enables one to escape the unconscious bond of their culture, which bases their perceptions and reactions to the world. It also helps one to make sense of different cultures. Cultural relativism gets people to admit that through their moral principles and values may seem evidently true and may form the basis for passing judgment on other people. The evidence of these moral principles is just illusion. So, you can say that recognizing others' culture, you can able to judge that whether their culture is also equivalent to our culture. So you have to judge not on biased way of thinking. You must have a historical understanding of others' culture. Then only you can able to go ahead with them, the people, with the society. You can coexist within the state, within the country, or within the society. So understanding of other cultures is also equivalent to your culture is necessary. That is how you can able to recognize cultural relativism. One of the best example is modification of body parts by Matisse people, or you can call them Jugan people. They have modified their body parts differently, which you can observe here. From this you can able to understand their culture of Matisse. So it is a unique culture. Everyone wanted to modify their body parts. For an outsider, it seems it is ugly or it is bad. But for them, it is a rich cultural heritage they are carrying. And every body part modification, they have a meaning in it. It represents the fauna of the forest. Somebody likes to have like a tiger, like a lion, like different birds or anywhere they like. So they coexist with the nature. That is why they wanted to shape the body parts differently. If you can able to understand this concept of their thinking by them, then you cannot misunderstand their cultural heritage. So That is cultural relativism. One has to see them with their own eyes. Then only you can able to understand their cultural values, beliefs and ethics and morals. Okay? Now let us go to the subject matter. Cultural relativism is for the notion that truth is relative. Depending on the cultural environment, those who choose to be different or intolerant to the idea of relativism are neither supported nor encouraged. Tolerance becomes the absolute truth and itself which contradicts the entire concept of relativism, while vices such as drug smuggling, stealing and murder requires a moral judgment adherent to the concept of cultural relativism cannot be outright denounced such as wrong. Critics of cultural relativism argued that there must be some unquestionable absolute of right and wrong despite the cultural of society. Truths and wrongs cannot be generated by one specific group of people but originate from something more universal and fundamental. This is an important aspect on cultural relativism. Truths and wrongs cannot be generated by one specific group of people but originate from something more universal and fundamental. For the best example is the Eskimos who are living in the Antarctica region. Now let us look into their way of life and cultural relativism. What is more in one cultural might be immoral or ethical, neutral in another. For example, it was not immoral to kill a baby girl at birth or an aged grandparent who was non-productive when it was impossible to obtain enough food for all, or wife lending among the Eskimo might be practiced as a gesture of hospitality, a way of cementing a friendship and promoting mutual aid in a harsh and dangerous environment, and thus may acquire the status of a high moral value. The view that elements of culture are to be understood and judged in terms of their relationship to the culture as a whole, doctrine known as cultural relativism, led to the conclusion that cultures themselves could not be evaluated or graded as higher and lower, superior or inferior. If it was unwarranted to say that patrilineal, that is descent through male line, was superior or inferior to matrilineal, descent through the female line. If it was unjustified or meaningless to say that monogamy was better or worse than polygamy, then it was equal, unsound or meaningless to say that one culture was higher or superior to another. A large number of anthropologists, sociologists subscribe to this view. They argue that such judgments were subjective and therefore unscientific. Now let us look into the theory of cultural moral relativism. Cultural moral relativism is the theory that moral judgments or truths are relative to culture. Consequently, what is right in one society may be wrong in another, and vice versa. For culture, you may substitute nation, society, group, subculture, etc. Anything you can consider. This is another theory with ancient roots. Herodotus, the father of history, describes the Greeks' encounter with the Galatians who ate their dead relatives naturally. The Greeks found this practice revolting, but the Galatians were equally repelled by the Greek practice of cremation, causing Herodotus to conclude that ethics is culturally relative. World literature sounds a recurring theme. Different cultures have different moral codes. An insight confirmed by the evidence of cultural differences. The Incas practiced human sacrifice. Eskimos shared their wives with strangers and killed newborns. Japanese samurai tried out his new sword of an innocent passenger by Europeans, enslaved mass of Africans, and female circumcision is performed today in parts of the Africa. Now, briefly look into the female genetical mutations which are done by African tribes. Female genetical mutations denies women and girls their dignity and causes needless pain and sufferings, with consequences that ends for a lifetime and can be even be fatal. The United Nations WHO calls female genital mutations a procedure that internationally alerts or causes injury for female genitals organs for non-medical reasons. In lay terms, babies, girls and women are cut and their genitals severed and their genitals severed. WHO underscores that it is not only provides no health benefits but may lead to lifetime obstacles. But in spite of WHO and UN organizations repeatedly pursues the matter not to go for female genetical mutations, even then they are not accepted and still they are going ahead. So it is their culture. Some of them say if you are not going for female genetical mutations, the society won't accept. They look down that female in the society. That is why they are going for female genital mutations. That is their concept. That is their way of thinking. For us, it is different. Okay. One of the best example to understand the cultural relativism is cow worship by the Hindus in India. Most of the Hindus, they live in villages, agriculture as their primary occupation, and they use animal husbandry is a part of their agriculture. Agriculture and animal husbandry are an integral part of Indian culture also. Cows have also been a part of Indian agriculture and farmers' families. We get the best quality of products from the cow milk, fertilizer for fields. Indirectly we get curd, buttermilk, ghee, etc. Also from the cow itself. The nature of cow is calm. This is why cow was among the first animals that humans domesticated. Cows help to increase the revenue for the farmers and improve their standard of living. The animal waste can be used as a source of manure for soil enrichment and also source of biofuel. So, every Hindu worships the cow. We have in South India the annual festival, Pongal festival, specially worshipped by the cows and the bulls and animals. It is a unique festival. Nowhere in the world we will find. We have in Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, they celebrate the cow worship and bull worship. And we have also a game in the name of race for the bulls. It is an important festival for the Hindus in India. So, for others it may look different. For others, especially the Europeans and the US people, they may think differently about this cow worship. Whereas in Africa, if you go, they drink the cow blood, which you can see here in the photographs. They sacrifice the cow and or otherwise living animals, they take the blood and they suck. One of the best example is by Evans Pritchard work on the New Year. There is a wonderful book where he explains about the blood, collection of blood from animals, and they drink when they are not able to get the food, and eat the meat of the cows and bulls. So every culture is different. We cannot say that New Year tribes from Africa is lower or Hindu culture is higher, like this. We cannot say. All are equal. All are equal. If you look into their own eyes, and if you look into their historical perspective and the ecology, environment, and where they have developed over a period of time, it makes them to understand that culture, and along with the culture, that is called, we can call it as a cultural evolution. Over a period of time, it has developed that culture. So all culture, all beliefs are equal. We cannot say this is higher, this is lower, or this is different. Okay, I think you can follow now. Now, let us look into the critique of cultural moral relativism briefly. If cultural relativism is true, then all of the following, that is counter intuitive, are true. Number one, we cannot make across cultural judgments. We could not consistently criticize a culture for killing all those over 40, exterminating ethnic groups, or banishing children to the Antarctic. We cannot make intra-cultural judgments. We cannot say, even within our culture, whether we should send children to their death or to school, whether we should torture our criminals or reward them. Then third one is, the idea of moral progress is incoherent. All you can say is that cultures change, not that one is better than the other. The old cultures practiced slavery. We do not, and that is the end of it. The appearance of moral progress is illusionary. But all of this is counter-intuitive. We might think that culture can do what they want to regard funeral practices. But what about human sacrifices? Are not there something that are just plain wrong? In both other cultures and our own, don't you have believe that society is better now because it has outlawed slavery? Cultural relativism answers not to both the questions, but can such strongly counter-intuitive theory be correct? We had a lengthy discussion on cultural relativism. I think now you have understood what is cultural relativism, the concept, meaning, and with examples I have given. I have taken Indian examples. Most of them are quoting the foreign examples, but I tried my level best to give our own Indian examples for a better understanding. Now, in conclusion, I wanted to summarize this lecture. Cultural relativism is an incoherent and unsustained as epistemological relativism. As I argued in yesterday's lesson, that ethnocentrism, and today's lesson also, the logical argument for cultural relativism fail, and we have good reasons to doubt the truth of the premises of cultural relativism. Finally, cultural relativism contradicts our moral intuitions. While we cannot prove that cultural relativism is mistaken, we can only really do this in logic or mathematics. We have shown that there are many reasons, no doubt the theory, and few reasons to accept it. Hope who understood the concept and with examples I have given on cultural relativism. I request you to pass on the link to other students also to have a wide network of these lessons by me. It is a series of lectures I am giving for the students of anthropology, sociology, and psychology. Hope we will meet in the next class on enculturation and acculturation lessons. Thank you very much. Thank you. See you in the next class.